CBS Sports HQ on a very interesting and even historic Thursday, if you will. Bill Belichick officially introduced as the new head coach of North Carolina football. If you're curious what the fashion is going to be in North Carolina next fall, it's going to be cutoff hoodies. That guy, we saw a much different version of Bill Belichick when he spoke to the media this afternoon. Did in fact saying, "I did not come here to leave," talking about how he always wanted to coach in college football, admitting though that it did find him this season. Bill Belichick, the most Super Bowl wins out of any coach in NFL history. North Carolina very far behind those numbers. North Carolina has not had a winning season since 2015. They have not won a conference title since 2015. Jonathan Jones, Logan Ryan listened into the entire press conference here. Logan, you were drafted by Bill Belichick back in 2015, won 2 Super Bowls with him. I'm very curious. He talked so much. He said, "I want to teach, develop, build student athletes." He talked about wanting just to develop in general, how professional they're going to be when they leave the program in any aspect of their life. Did you see any version of that Bill Belichick when you were with him with the Patriots?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coaches are nothing more than teachers, and he's the greatest coach of football of all time. He's the greatest teacher of football. You got to give him credit. He could coach and teach rookies. He can coach and teach Tom Brady in his 14th year, 15th year. So he's the greatest to ever do it. And I think, you know, what's tripping everyone up, and the question is, Bill, how are you going to adjust to college? How are you going to adjust to recruiting? And the real answer, as he said it, is that college is turning into the NFL. You got a salary cap. You got helmet communication. You got tablets on the sideline. The quarterback has a green dot. These are all NFL things, and college coaches reached out to him this past year to pick his brain on it. End of game situations with timeouts. He's the best at that. So the college game's adapting to the pro game. It's basically minor league sports now. And now you got the greatest pro coach going down to that level. I think it's a great fit. I think he's going to have a blast down there. And I think there's going to be no issue with recruiting because those that want to be great will go seek to be taught by a great teacher.
JJ, you are not only our lead NFL insider, you happen to be a graduate of the University of North Carolina. So from a fan perspective, from a football perspective, what were some of your biggest takeaways that are still running through your mind after hearing that press conference?
Yeah, I mean, look, as a reporter, as a former student journalist at North Carolina at the Daily Tar Heel, this is just a fever dream, right? There is nothing better than this story. Whether he has success or not, just be in the extremes. The last thing that Bill Belichick needs to be, if I am a fan of Carolina, if I'm a reporter covering Carolina, is another 7-5 year. You either go win 10, 11 games, something that the UNC Tar Heels have only done once since the turn of the century, or you really struggle like we have seen Carolina do ever since that JMU loss earlier this year. Look, I don't know, and I don't know that anyone could confidently say that they know that this absolutely will work, but I think Logan hit on a number of fantastic points that because these two games, the NFL and the college game, are more similar today than they have been in recent memory, that gives you a lot of hope that Bill Belichick is going to be able to recruit. There's no question about it. Parents are going to want their children to go to Bill Belichick's program, but you know, in free agency, you sign, you know, a 1, a 2, a 3-year contract. When you draft and develop, Belichick talked about this. It was a 4-year contract with a 5th-year option and franchise tags. Those don't exist in college. So there's going to be a re-recruitment. And it's not just, hey, how much do you like Bill Belichick? It's how much do you like money? And that's why UNC and its donors have contributed, what I've been told, 4x the sort of NIL money that had previously been there in order to make this a top flight program, in order to make this a program that Bill Belichick wants to lead. He's not just there because his dad coached there. He's not just there because he likes the color Carolina blue. He's there because he believes he can win at the college football level. And to do that today, you have to have money, and that money is now going there.
I'm going to get into the football side of this, but I kind of want to go back to the personality side. JJ, we were talking before the press conference started, and you said, what sort of version are we going to get from Bill Belichick? I mean, he even made a joke spoken about himself. He said, when have you heard me basically ramble on at press conferences before? This was a very long press conference. He went very in detail into every single question that was answered. And he talked a lot, as I mentioned, about wanting to mold these young players. And a lot of people have questioned, oh, well, can these 18-year-olds, stand up to Bill Belichick? Are they just going to jump in the portal if he starts to become mean at him? Did his personality surprise you at all, what we saw here the past hour?
No, it didn't. It sort of, as someone who has watched, who has participated in a number of Bill Belichick press conferences, this was a Bill like in a midweek after a 3 or 4 game win streak. Right? I mean, this was sort of like the Bill that we have seen across our television channels lately. Like, he knows that there is no use in being gruff right now. There's no reason to decline to answer a question. He was asked a very great question by Ross Martin about his relationship and talks with Nick Saban, and he very respectfully said he was going to keep those conversations private, but he went on a little bit about Nick and about how great of a coach and friend that he has been. You still have to recruit. Bill Belichick is not, ignorant to that. However, I did appreciate that he didn't go over the top. He was still himself, right, Logan? Like, you still saw, okay, that's still Coach Belichick. That's not Bill. That's not this new dude. He's still himself, but he also knows, hey, I still got to talk to these 16 to, frankly, 23-year-olds out there.
Logan, do you agree with what JJ just said?
Yeah, I agree. Look, I've seen Bill Belichick in the draft process when he scouted me. He came to Rutgers a lot. Steve Belichick was a teammate of ours. So I saw him as a dad at Rutgers and then recruiting me or scouting me for the New England Patriots, drafting me, and then being in his meeting rooms for 4 years. And what a lot of the media has not seen until this year is his real personality, that he does get loose. He does tell some dry jokes at times that we all don't get right away. He does have a sense of humor. So I think we're starting to see that on media now. People are trying to see, oh, this really Bill, what's he really like? And it is a lot of that. What he seems seemed like his natural self. He's showing, one, I think when he's coaching, he's not going to give away any strategy. So when you ask him questions or you don't ask him the smartest questions, he's not going to have time for it, and he's not really going to give away any strategy or any advantage to the opponent. He really thinks everything needs to be an advantage for the home team. And then, obviously, he does not want to bother himself on selling when he doesn't have to, but he does understand that he is recruiting. He understands why he's selling, why he's coming to UNC, he's selling to the recruits that are out there. So he is smart enough to understand the importance of media. It is no longer the enemy. Maybe in the 90s, the newspaper, early 2000s were the enemy to a team. Now he understands working in it how much you do need them on your side, especially at the college level.
And he definitely did say there, I didn't come here to leave. Let's go back to the football side of this, and both you alluded to just how much closer we're starting to see college football and the NFL. It's going to be run very similar to how he ran an NFL team. There's going to be a GM, there's going to be him. They said, how much of an NFL staff are you going to have? He said there's going to be a large presence, mainly in the training area. But just looking at the landscape of college football, Logan, I want to start with you. Yes, he is doing this in order to win, but also, is this just showing how much closer college football is starting to be to the NFL?
Absolutely. College football is like I said, it's minor league sports now. It's just a development for the NFL. That's truly what it is. And I think Deion Sanders has showed us all that. Deion Sanders says he doesn't leave his Boulder to recruit. Why would I go to a high school kid's couch? They'll come to me. If they want to see it, they'll come to me. And I believe Bill Belichick's got the same approach. He said, I'll coach, I'll recruit him in-house. He's going to have a full front office, similar to an NFL style with Michael Lombardi, a former NFL GM, running the show. Now, when it comes to NIL and money and what a kid's given, now I did some calling college games this year for CBS, and I sat down with a lot of coaches and asked them questions about NIL and how they like it and how it works for them. And obviously, it's a new landscape for everybody. But what a coach did tell me, which is interesting, he said, I don't guarantee the kids anything. They can earn it. We're giving these kids contracts. It could be incentives in there. It can be they have to show up and earn their paycheck. So, yeah, you can come play quarterback for us, but you got to throw for X amount of touchdowns or have X amount of starts, and we'll pay you on the back end, similar to an NFL deal with incentive-based contracts. It's going to get that serious, and you might be able to hold the kids accountable based on these contracts if you don't get that money, if you don't perform like you said. So it's not as simple as, oh, they're giving this kid $10 million. You don't have to do a thing. No, they have to show up and perform, similar to the NFL. So what this league is turning into is a lot of the NFL rules. And like I said, we haven't seen a greatest of all time coach go down to this level, which is turning into pro sports anyway. I think he has a huge, huge advantage on the other coaches out there.
JJ, one last question. I want to send it to you. He was asked, what will success be at North Carolina, a team that has not seen success, postseason, if you will, from the regular season in some time here. And he said it's a day-to-day process. We put the poll out on YouTube asking, will North Carolina get to the college football playoff in his tenure? 74% of people said yes. What will success be in the first handful of seasons, do you think, for North Carolina? How do you define that?
First of all, no surprise he was not going to go out there and put a wins figure on what success is, right? That he's just going to keep the main thing. He's going to say we're focused on today, focused on tomorrow. I will say this, and I know we're wrapping up here, and so we should have a whole lot of excitement about Bill Belichick, and there should be, and there is, right? There's also some cold water that we can sort of dump on this, because the North Carolina program, and I do feel some authority to be able to speak to this, that football, they've tried everything over the years. They are now trying the one thing they never did, which was to get the greatest NFL coach of all time to come there. But they tried it with Butch Davis. They tried it with Matt Brown 1.0 and 2.0 and Larry Fedora. And you can continue on the list of names. The fact is, this is a school that has not won an ACC title since before I was alive, before any of us talking right now were alive. They won division titles, right? But it is also because it is a basketball school. It is also because they do care about the non-revenue sports in a way that a lot of football schools do not. Women's soccer just won a national championship. Field hockey, both lacrosses, both tennises, they regularly compete for national championships. And in this era of NIL, there's only so much money that donors are willing to give to a certain amount of places. Those donors want Carolina basketball to hang a 7th NCAA title banner, right? That still matters to them. Bill Belichick's there. They still love basketball, though, and that's not going to change. And so there is going to be a push and pull in the future at North Carolina. How much are we going to devote to this newcomer and to football if it isn't working at some point? You look at Miami, more NIL, a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback, and they didn't make the college football playoff in the ACC. So am I willing to say, because it's Belichick now, that you can go ahead and forget about the previous decades of Carolina football and it is officially a new successful era? I wouldn't go that far, but no doubt about it, it is a new era of college football in Carolina.
The Chancellor and AD were there on stage with Bill Belichick and basically said, we started making our list. How high can we go? Who can we get? Who's the biggest star that we can get to come here? They definitely got the biggest one there. Also, Bill Belichick asked about 72, 73. Why keep coaching? He said, because it beats working. Jonathan, Jones, Logan Ryan, we appreciate it. Taking a look at North Carolina's schedule next season with Bill Belichick at the helm there, kicking off the season against TCU August 30th. By the way, they are set to play UConn in the Fenway Bowl. Maybe Bill Belichick will go, see what's going to go on with his new team. He did say that Freddie Kitchens will stay there as the interim coach through that game, and he is going to be the first person that he hires to stay on staff.